Hi, my name is Rob Abel, and I'm the content coordinator at SC Magazine. And today with me I have Justin Cappos, and he is a computer security professor at the NYU Tandon School of Engineering. Justin, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm well. So, let's see. Why don't we talk about some of the type of cybersecurity policies that both the public and the private sector could benefit from?
Sure. So if you have an organization, one of the things that you want to do is you want to be really careful about how you protect user data. There's a lot of very sensitive information that companies are provided by their users, and a lot of cases, because one of the people in the organization takes that information on a USB drive or a laptop or something and then loses that, or it's stolen, that information can get disclosed and cause a lot of damage to the organization and their users.
Okay, and we spoke off camera a little bit about BYOD policies. What are some of your recommendations and thoughts on that?
Sure. So in general, the philosophy that people had in kind of the 90s was, oh, you set up a firewall and all the good things are behind the firewall and all the bad guys are outside of the firewall. And bring your own device policies showed that's really not the case. So there seem to be in many cases here to stay. But organizations should really treat anything that people bring in as potentially hostile. So limit the information that you let go to those devices. Be cognizant of who's bringing what in, and if somebody's bringing a device that's like an older device or a device that doesn't have recent security updates, maybe it's a good idea to incentivize them to buy a new one.
All right. And what are some of the best practices just in general to avoid being hacked?
Well, it's a good idea to have try to have situations where multiple people have to come together to perform very sensitive operations. Now, these are things that typically you're not doing all the time, everyday sorts of operations, but just like if you're at a company and maybe there's two people who have to sign off on certain checks over certain amounts or things like that. That's common in the business world. Having multiple people have to sign off to reset the CEO's password or get into the CEO's email or do things like that, you want to try to structure your systems like that. Another thing that you'd like to do is you'd like to, whenever possible, augment security protection so that it's not just a password or something that lets you in. You want to use two-factor authentication, but ideally you really want that second factor not to just be an SMS message sent to a device, because those are not particularly secure. Ideally you want some kind of physical hardware token, something like a YubiKey or RSA secure tokens. There's tons of different options out there, but something physical that someone would have to steal and use in addition to having a password or another factor to get in.
Okay, and you're training the next generation of cybersecurity warriors. So what are some of the biggest threats that you see on the horizon? I mean, just with the growth of ransomware, historic DDoS attacks with the Mariah botnet and whatnot. So what are some of the things that you're just telling your students to look out for?
Sure. So if you'd asked me this question 3 years ago, I would have been talking a lot about nation state actors as being a big threat that they should be concerned about, and some students would kind of roll their eyes. And then the Snowden leaks came, and now everybody kind of sees this. For the past few years, I've been talking about Internet of Things a lot, and I think that has, of course, come very much to the forefront. So you have all these devices that you're buying that are really, really insecure, kind of like a really bad version of this bring your own device policy that we talked about a few minutes ago, that are now being plopped on your network and have no security and no, or at least inadequate security in many cases. And one of the big things I think is, amongst many things that's coming more and more in the future, is we're seeing a lot of very determined attackers that are going and using software updates and using mechanisms by which systems do software updates to actually attack and break into those systems. And this is a particularly scary area because there's a lot of companies that produce software that goes on your devices, and they often make very insecure software updaters. And then if you know of a vulnerability in any of those, you have a way to get software on that device and make it do whatever you want, which is exactly what you want to avoid.
Yeah, that is scary. Well, thank you, Justin. Once again, I'm Rob Abel, content coordinator with SC Magazine. Thank you, and stay safe online.